Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. This is the post-fight review for the Tyson Fury and Tom Schwarz fight, and I'll also cover the other heavyweight fights that were on the card, but at the back end of the video. We will start with the main event first because, wow, there's a bit to talk about. Tyson Fury said he was going to put on a show, and that's exactly what he did. Battering Tom Schwarz, the previously undefeated German, in a couple of rounds, dropping him in the second round and ultimately finishing him off. The referee had to jump in, Schwarz unable to respond to Tyson Fury's assault on him, and it was all over in under 2 rounds. Now, this is not a case where I think the result was in doubt. I think 99% of people knew that Tyson Fury was going to win. It was the question of the manner and how he would win. And there's a bit to talk about here with this performance because a number of things that he did, he looked pretty, fantastic in there at times. But it's one of these things because Tom Schwarz was so dreadful. He was so clearly overmatched, and I said this heading into the fight, and that did sort of hurt some people's sensibility, saying it was a mismatch. But this was a mismatch, and that's how it played out. But we can't take away from Tyson Fury the things that he did do in the ring, though, because it was pretty much a flawless performance for the most part. He was really dictating the terms, the action, right from the get-go. That first round, he was using that jab to great effect, and he actually had quite a bit of mustard on that punch. It was one of those things he was flicking out, and you could see that Tom Schwarz was actually feeling the weight of Tyson Fury's jab, and it's not exactly with Fury, who's often has been accused in the past just sort of flicking out jabs for rangefinders, but he was really using it as a scoring weapon there, and Tom Schwarz was unable to, as a result, really do much of note. He did sort of catch Tyson Fury a couple of times with a sort of glancing left hooks, but nothing, too telling. But it was a clear Fury round, dominated, just finding his feet in there, using the jab. Second round, he comes out in the southpaw stance, and Tom Schwarz is completely at odds with what's going on, not really sure how to close the distance, completely ineffectual. He was looking to be aggressive, but it was all wasted aggression because couldn't close the distance, and Fury just started to pour it on. He busted up Schwarz's nose, and then he started really putting the hammer down, really starting to get to Tom Schwarz. He could see that Schwarz was starting to struggle. Tyson Fury catches him with a strong left hook and then follows up with a right hand, but Schwarz tries to shake it off, but ultimately he ends up looking a bit silly because Tyson Fury goes all matrix on him, avoids about 4 or 5 solid punches that Schwarz is throwing, and it was just he was finding fresh air. And it was one of those occasions where it was I felt sorry for Tom Schwarz because he looked so completely out of his depth there. And it wasn't long after that it was all over. Tyson Fury lands a combination on Tom Schwarz, and he falls to the canvas. It was 3 or 4 punches there, right hand, left hand, and he's down. And after that, Fury is on him, bails him up in the corner, and just really unloads the kitchen sink. Tom Schwarz not responding. He didn't look severely hurt, but he just was unable to come back with any punches. And the referee, Kenny Bayless, was looking to jump in there. He's sort of, about to go in, and ultimately he just pulls the trigger and waves it off. So Tyson Fury, in his first fight with ESPN and Top Rank on this new co-promotional deal, which he's, reported to get about $100 million or so in the life of the deal, that is dependent on some fights happening, really puts on a show. And I want to stop short of saying a statement because it's the sort of opponent that he was always going to beat in relatively handily. A lot of people, including myself, were expecting a stoppage. I was sort of thinking from rounds 5 to 8, something like that he would sort of pick apart Tom Schwarz over time and wear him down, take him out. And he did that. It just happened a lot faster. And part of that was because Tom Schwarz didn't offer much resistance. There wasn't a lot that he was doing to really trouble Tyson Fury at all. But I'll come to a couple of other good things with Fury in a minute. But first, I just want to sort of touch on the couple of questions that I was asking ahead of the fight. It's a year into Tyson Fury's comeback. He fought Deontay Wilder after 6 months. It's now been a year. Would he look better? Would he look sharper? And on the strength of what we saw, yeah, he did look better. I thought the footwork and the movement, it was a bit more fluid. It looked a bit more clean. He was picking his spots. The jab was obviously a bit more of a weapon in this fight. But, it was Tom Schwarz in front of him. The level of risk is much different to Deontay Wilder, but on the basis of what I saw, I thought actually he was looking very sharp in there, even though he was an extra 7 pounds heavier. Overall, the performance, it was a very eye-catching performance by Tyson Fury. And those words, eye-catching performance and Tyson Fury, in his career haven't always gone hand in hand. But I think he knows that, this is the entertainment business. He's even spoken about this. And for this deal with ESPN and Top Rank trying to sell him to the masses in the United States, that he's going to have to, be a bit more aggressive in his fights. He's going to probably have to take a few more chances and do a few more things to really get the fans on side. And this, we certainly saw an element of that tonight. And I think some of the influence of Ben Davison will probably be in this performance as well. So overall, very slick performance. I liked what I saw. And another question I had ahead of this fight was, well, what could Tom Schwarz do? How good was he? It certainly was an open question. And I think the result is not very. I didn't really rate him that highly ahead of this fight. Not many people did. And I think there was a reason why, because he was operating at about German domestic level. Didn't show much of anything in this fight. And I know there will be some people saying that, Tyson Fury was just so much better than Schwarz that he never had a chance, and that sort of factors into his performance. But I think he didn't show much at all because he's probably at top 50 level-ish, and maybe that's his lot. I don't think, we can read too much more into it because Tom Schwarz is not an elite fighter. Tyson Fury deserves credit for the manner in which he dealt with Tom Schwarz, a guy who was an overmatched opponent, but we shouldn't be going crazy and sort of saying that he just beat a top 10 guy or a top 20 guy, because Tom Schwarz was not in that category. He was a much lesser opponent than a guy like Andy Ruiz, who just fought Anthony Joshua. But it is what it is. This was a showcase fight for Tyson Fury. I think, people have to step back and actually, stop defending Tom Schwarz, just see it for what it was. This was a ease into the American market, a showcase fight. He did what he had to do here. He really did a number on Tom Schwarz. He was dominant. He showed us a number of things. He showed us that, his skills are still there. He was very sharp. And there was also the theatrics that came with this whole sort of performance. It wasn't just the in-ring performance. There was a whole build-up to it. ESPN made a whole production, made special effort to explain what the lineal heavyweight championship was. They did all sorts of things over the course of the night to be talking about that. They've been trying to educate their audience on ESPN ahead of this. They've been trying to, bring them up to speed with what this really means, who Tyson Fury is, what he's achieved in his career. They're trying to bring these guys on board, and Tyson Fury has backed up that effort with a very impressive win. And Tyson Fury, ahead of the fight, on his ring walk, he was dressed in a black robe, and then he sort of derobes. He reveals that he's got an American flag styled, get up on, shorts, the vest, a hat as well, that sort of thing. You can see here on screen, this is what he was wearing. It was a performance that he was putting on, not just in the ring, but also out of it. And I think out of this whole sort of thing, he would have got some exposure. There will be ESPN and others will be talking about the performance and how good he looks. And, the commentators, they were obviously going crazy, and they were doing that, in previous fights as well. But can we call this a success? In terms of fighting a pair who was on his level, I mean, this wasn't that fight. This was a showcase fight to sell him to the American audience. And Tyson Fury did his job. And reportedly, and this is what ESPN was saying, he was getting paid for this, a $1 million purse, but there was an additional guarantee of $12.5 million as part of his contract with ESPN and Top Rank. And Tom Schwarz was getting $250,000, but that could rise to over $1 million. That was according to ESPN reporter Dan Raphael. But presumably that cut is from pay-per-view in some locations. Not quite sure where that extra revenue is coming from. But whatever the case, it was good money for a non-title fight. Overall, Tyson Fury dominating, batters Tom Schwarz, busting him up, gets the win. Another knockout, early knockout for him. It's going to help generate some buzz for him in the United States. Let's hope the next opponent for Tyson Fury is someone we want to see him in with. And they've talked about, I made some notes here, where was it? I think it was September 21st and October 5th. That's what Fury said for his next fight date. So either of the two. No word on who it would be. He tried to deflect to some extent on Deontay Wilder and that sort of thing, but he said next year he would be looking to hunt Deontay Wilder. And then he was given the microphone, and he serenaded his wife at the in the ring like he did after he beat Vladimir Klitschko. He sung some Aerosmith, Don't Miss a Thing. So that was a very, the ring announcer gave him the microphone and said, is there anything you want to do and, entertain, that sort of thing. So it was very much Fury given the mic and okay, and he just launched into it. Very entertaining. It's all part and parcel of the package that they're trying to sort of sell to American fans right now. Millions of subscribers on ESPN Plus, and obviously tens of millions more on the ESPN platform who are going to see this guy. They're going to see highlights of him busting this guy up who was completely overmatched here. And this is what it was. It was a mismatch, but a showcase fight nonetheless. In terms of other heavyweight action on the card, so there was 3 scheduled fights. There was one with Sonny Konto. He was in a swing bout, but that wasn't actually on the broadcast, so not sure what happened there. So they obviously didn't have time to get to it. They may have run it after the fight, and I've missed it now. But starting the night, they had Tom Schwarz's stablemate, Peter Kaderu. He decisioned Juan Torres in the first fight of the night. He was a little scratchy, he clearly looks raw, still easing his way into the pro ranks, but he's got potential. He advanced to 3-0. Also, we had Guido Vianello, the Italian. He stopped Keenan Hickman in 2 rounds, dropping him 3 times in round 2 before it was all waved off. Another eye-catching finish from the Italian. He moves to 4-0. And Tim Bradley was quite harsh on him with some of the commentary, really sort of picking apart, saying, some of his habits with his hands down, saying, look, he's got to get rid of these bad habits now. Vianello has been working with Abel Sanchez at Big Bear. He's got a house up there too. Anyway, this card, it wasn't too bad. There was the good fight between Jesse Hart and Sullivan Barrera, both hurting the other at times. But it was what it was with the main fight. A showcase, Tyson Fury wins, and he gets the job done in style. He did entertain as he sought out to do. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment. Loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.